Hello and welcome to Offsite Dirt. My name is Audrey Grabesic. I'm your host, and we are talking all things in construction, offsite construction, events, panelization, everything that really has to do with construction news. And we have a really special guest that kind of started with a construction background and had led her into her creativity to doing web design. Katlyn Slocum is with us, and she's going to explain a little bit more about her journey and really her passion on how it actually unfolded in the industry. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yes, it's so nice to be here.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So give us a little background about you and your family and kind of that whole direction of construction, and then kind of give us a little speed forward to where you are today.
Like she said, my name is Katlyn Slocum. I just transplanted I grew up in Minnesota, lived in Washington, just moved from Washington after 8 years to Ohio. I'm married to my husband, Brandon, who is a journeyman electrician. We have two toddler boys. But yeah, my background, I grew up in a very blue collar household and multiple households. My parents were divorced, so my dad and his dad owned an HVAC company. My grandpa on my mom's side, he actually opened his auto repair shop the year I was born and just recently retired and sold his shop. So he had that for over 20 years, actually over 30 years. Um, my stepdad is still a successful roofing contractor in Minnesota. So I just had all of these people in my family who were not only in blue collar businesses, but they owned their own businesses. I'm really familiar with that space and kind of that lifestyle. I worked for my stepdad's roofing company for a few years when I was in high school, doing accounting and accounts receivable and payroll and all the things. Um, so that's a little bit of my family background and kind of just my familiarity with the trades. I was a music major actually in college for a couple years, and very long story short, that didn't end up working out. And so I ended up graduating with my business degree. Got a job in marketing, a corporate job, salary job. And when I was pregnant with my second son, that company, that startup went out of business. And so I was left scrambling trying to find a job that I could be home with my kids, which was a value of mine, but also make money and contribute to our income. So I had a family friend who is he's in the wastewater industry, a consultant, and he encouraged me to start my own business and help business owners like himself with websites, with social media in particular. I was doing for a while, copywriting, kind of those types of things. And so that's what I did. I jumped into owning my own business, just kind of hoping and praying that something would happen with it. And as I jumped into it, I really liked the creative side of things. So the web design really spoke to my interests and my passion. And so I just took the money that he was paying me and invested everything into learning this skill. So long story short, after several years of self-teaching, freelancing, and getting experience on different platforms, diving into different programs, learning web design, SEO, how to rank a site on Google, website strategy. I spent 5 years of self-taught and courses and programs to get me to where I am today, where I work with successful um, blue collar businesses, primarily custom home builders and remodelers. And I help them with their websites to get better results from their websites, increase their in sales, increase user engagement, the conversion rates on their websites. And so that's what I'm really focused on now is website strategy to help people in the trades get better performing sites and be better sales tools for their business.
I have to say, when we met through one of our colleagues, Devin Tilley, which Devin Tilley and I started a podcast with Offsite Construction, gosh, years ago. And so it's so great. It's full circle, right? And then I get to meet amazing women like you. And I think a couple of things that really stood out in our conversation, Katlyn, was you investing in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the other thing that was really unique is that you came from a background of all of these industries, automotive and in construction and HVAC and roofing. All of those things are really all about building something and really flourishing in it. And it sounds like each one of the individuals in your family have had a successful business. So then we kind of look at your style of doing business and helping a lot of these trades and a lot of these companies excel. And when you get to a certain level, as you're aware, you get these huge brand agencies that are going to help you
Mhm.
through and do all this stuff. And you're going to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And you may not get the attention, and you may not get the education, and you may not get the real understanding what the purpose of your strategy of your website is. And I think I would love to know if you could maybe walk us through one of your clients or how you kind of do things a little bit different, maybe with a past project or a past client, because I think it's really interesting, not only your background, but the way that you service and provide help for your clients.
Yeah. Oh, I could give a couple different examples. If I'll just focus on the one of my web clients. So I had a couple of builders. Um, they co-owned a custom home building company in Toronto, and they were able. They'd been in the industry for 20 plus years. They had a lot of industry connections. So when they did decide to go off on their own and start their own custom home building company, because of their connections, they were actually able to stay busy their first 2 years. Because of word of mouth referrals and industry connections. When they had gotten connected with me through another industry connection, um, they knew that while they had stayed busy their first couple years of business, in order for that to be sustainable, that they were going to have to work on attracting more people online who are looking for what they're doing, who are not familiar with them yet. So they had a simple website up. It actually looked fine. There was strategic elements that were missing that I was like, if you're working with me, we can actually get a lot better results. Sometimes it's the smallest changes that make the biggest change. So they signed on to work with me, and we built their website more fully. But my favorite part of the process, and that a lot of designers don't do, because when we think web design, we think of just visual aesthetics and, oh, the website looks nice, or, whatever. But if you have a pretty website, but it's not built to engage or convert the people who are landing on your site, then all of your efforts, whether you're paying for Google ads or Facebook ads or SEO, you're spending all this money on social media marketing to drive people to your website. But then once they're there, it's kind of a leaky bucket and they're just falling through the cracks and they're not actually reaching out and doing the thing you want them to do, then all of those ad dollars and time and energy is going to waste. So my focus is figuring out what your business goals are overall, so that when I build your website, which is going to be completely unique to you as a business owner, because all of us businesses have different goals, that it works to perform and help you meet those goals and objectives. So a website, it is not just a passive, I mean, for a lot of us, it's just a passive thing. It sits there, we might not look at it or touch it. But if you have a website like that, it's not being the sales tool that it can be. So I partnered with these two builders. The first thing we do is we sit down on an hour and a half long strategy call, and we talk all things. Who are your ideal clients? What's the type of business you want to attract? I install inspector tools on their website, so I can actually see what people are doing on their website. I can see every click they make, every page they go to or don't go to, when they leave the site, whether they're reaching out or not. So I can gather this behavioral data in order to make the websites more efficient. We talk about what their competitors are doing and how we can stand out from their competition. So we go through this in-depth strategy before we even get into the initial design. So, and doing that as a designer helps me get more clarity of like what they're actually wanting to achieve, because I am focused. I care way more about the results you get than how pretty your website is. And I make pretty websites, but I care way more that it works. So anyways, we launched them a couple months ago, and I checked in on them, and I like to get data and kind of results and seeing how things are working, checking back in with them after we've worked together. And only a month after we launched, he reached out to me and he said, we got more inquiries in this last month since the relaunch than we had in the last 12 months combined. And so if you're thinking custom homes and how much a project is worth for a custom home gig, even if they got one more project per year from the new website, think of how much money that is in ROI. And for every industry, that's going to be different, right? Depending on how much your products or services are worth. But really getting into the numbers of, hey, if I get one more project a month, or for these guys, even one more project a year, how much return on investment they're getting just by making little tweaks in their marketing plan and paying attention to the numbers of their website, how they're performing, and then making little tweaks that make a huge difference. And so that's what I'm really focused on, is the strategy of the website as a sales tool.
Oh, it's beautiful. I mean, who doesn't want that? I
I
mean,
know.
love the
I want that.
behavioral data. I love that behavioral data. I love the strategy. I like that you spend time with your clients and fully want to engage and know what is important to them. I also like the idea of measuring and looking at what your competition's doing, because we can always learn from those around us. And does it work? I think those are huge components. And sometimes, like you said, a lot of people have the misconception that web design is all about this beautiful website that shows these great pictures. Yay, we got these great pictures, but what is it doing, right?
Right. I have another client who I'm working with next week, and he, full honesty, admitted to me, I put up this website. I have not even looked at it in several years. And when I was looking at this behavioral data, really his website, it doesn't have any buttons directing them to the contact page. The contact page is kind of hidden. The home page is very blank. The about page is very blank. There's no calls to action. So really all that people are left to do on a site are go to his portfolio, and they're scrolling through these beautiful images of homes, but that's not enough to guide them through the site and get them to actually reach out for a call and continue the conversation. So your photos are great. His website was pretty, but it wasn't accomplishing what he needed for his business to grow and increase his sales. So
It's great. It is great that you can actually show them those details. Is there are you specifically in one industry, or does your web design and your strategy cover several industries, or have you found one that you really love? Is there a niche?
no, yeah, well, my niche when I first started my business was always blue collar, but blue collar obviously is still a very diverse niche. You know, you have HVAC, electricians, plumbers, offsite construction, custom home builders. There's so many different facets to blue collar. So just recently I niched further in my marketing to builders and remodelers, but it doesn't matter what industry you're in, website strategy will and does work, because it's just going to change from industry to industry and from business to business. So it really doesn't matter what niche you're in. Strategy is still important. And even in like, let's just say I'm thinking about builders, web web objectives don't just have to be more calls or more contact forms. A lot of times, I've sat down with clients who they get plenty of inquiries, but they want their website to be focused on building their email list, and engaging and nurturing prospective clients. So, or sometimes it's getting them to download a certain item, or if you're a product-based businesses, it might be more sales, or even if you have multiple products, more sales of a very specific product that you want to sell or highlight. So it can vary vastly. But yeah, as far as me, all blue collar. If you go to my website, you'll see it geared a little bit more towards builders and remodelers. But service-based businesses is who I deal with. I don't really deal with a lot of product-based businesses. So
Yeah, and I think there's something to be said for that, because when you find success in an area, especially, there's a tremendous amount of builders out there,
mhm.
remodelers.
Yep.
Right now, we are 5 million homes short just to meet the need in the United States, not the
Yeah,
world, right? It's insane.
it
So
is.
we need someone like you that can highlight their great abilities and show that there are wonderful people out there that want to do good business, and you are really a storyteller. Are you finding it all through this journey that it is about the story, it is about the content, people want more of that kind of thing? Or are you finding that they just want to know what prices are and what's the product going to cost them? What are you seeing? What's the trend?
Um, to get the best results, and especially in industries where people are paying a pretty penny for your service, or product, the story does matter. And not just your story, your personal story, your business story. People do care about that because they want to see shared values, shared experiences, like kind of getting the feeling like, if I was going to hire a builder, I would want to hire somebody I vibe with really well, who I feel like understands me. Like, those things are still important, but how you are able to be a guide for offering the solutions that your clients are looking for. I mean, you can get on your website all you want and toot your own horn and say, we're the best builder in Orange County or whatever. That doesn't help your client. All the other builders could say that about themselves. The story comes down to understanding what are your prospective clients' pain points, and then addressing those on your website and in your marketing. I was talking with one of my builders, and for his specific market and his clients, one of their main concerns was, oh, now I just brain farted.
It's okay. It will come.
Okay.
But
Yes, it will
I'm
come.
glad to hear that you really are getting specific. It's not just about the general story. It's about
No.
how
Yeah.
are you going to help your clients, or what are you going to offer them?
Yep.
It's really not about you.
No, it's not about you. Yeah. Yeah. So one builder their clients might, their pain point is, cleanliness. Maybe they've worked with a builder before and just they trash the whole place, they didn't clean up after themselves. Another builder, they might hear a lot of times from their client that they're concerned about budget, obviously staying on budget, or timelines and schedules, because there are builders out there who have no processes in place, who are kind of just working out of their truck, and things are chaotic and a mess. And so, and you know your business and your clients better than anybody else. I mean, I can tell you what my clients' pain points are. You should be able to know, inside and out, what your clients are struggling with, and then address those on your website and in your social posts and your marketing, because then they get that they start building that know, like, and trust. Hey, I know that this company knows exactly what my fears are, what I'm going through, what I'm questioning. And they have taken an interest and position themselves in a place like, this is what they specialize in, this is what they help with. So being able to communicate, and it's the hardest thing to do if you're going to approach a web project. Your messaging, your content, your written content, that's one of the trickiest parts. I highly recommend, if you can, to hire a professional, either copywriter, or there's what are called story brand guides. Building a story brand is a great book by Donald Miller that talks all about your messaging and how you relate and communicate to your clients to increase your conversion rates and actually for it to make a difference in your business. So if you can find a professional copywriter and preferably a story brand guide, it'll make a huge difference in the conversion rates you get on your websites, and how your brand messaging comes across to your clients in a positive way.
I love that. And I love know, like, and trust. Those are key words, right? That
Especially in
build trust.
construction, especially, you have to build trust. People are spending hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars with you. They have to trust you
Right. This is the
before they're going to
biggest
work with you.
investment,
Yes.
right? Biggest
They're
investment
not,
of their life, right?
yeah, they're not buying a chocolate bar. they're, they're investing a
Very,
lot.
very true. So I love this. And I love that we're featuring you on Marketplace, because you really are your own marketplace for other businesses. So it makes me happy. On Offsite Dirt, you're going to find this story on Marketplace. I wanted to mention that in the beginning, but I was so excited about what Katlyn's doing. I'm like, oh my gosh, my mind's blown. I love discussing things like this, because in the building industry, even when I started Modular SureSite 6 years ago, one of the things that I knew was how I could stand out from my competition and how I wanted to treat my clients and how I could offer those services. And for me in the offsite solution industry 6 years ago, and it has grown tremendously, there wasn't a lot of people doing it. Now we're
Yeah.
so much smarter, right? We've got people
Yeah.
like you doing it. So I'm going to ask you this last question because we were kind of talking about, you have a list on your website
Yeah.
about different solutions or different things for people to consider. Can we talk a couple of those and then maybe we can direct them that way too? Because I love that you're willing to not only engage and help us and have this conversation, but you're also helping them to be better and get better at their business. And so this is super cool. Let's talk about
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And so one of the first tips, I think that not a lot of us do, not enough of us do in our businesses, not just construction, but across any business owner. Just know your numbers. If you don't have access to your website or your analytics, get it from whoever has it. You own your website, you own those analytics. Well, Google owns them, but you should have access to them. Get that so you can know exactly what is going on in your business. Sometimes just taking a look at numbers is such a reality check. We can ignore them and just kind of not think about them. But if we actually sit down and see how much traffic are you getting to your website, and out of all those people who are coming to your website, how many responses are you getting? Or make goals for yourself. What do you want to achieve in your business? What do you want your website to do for you? That's an okay question to ask yourself. You don't have to settle for a website that's just a dud and you hear crickets and your inbox is quiet. You don't have to settle for that. So start thinking about, what do you want your website to be able to do? Look at your numbers, write it down so that when you do tackle that project, you have that to give to your designer or your strategist. But yeah, I have a page on my website that has free resources specifically for builders to help grow your business related to SEO and websites. And I have one, it's the 10 things every construction website needs in 2023. And it is going to be valid also in 2024. But they're just some strategic tips that are really, most of them are really quick to implement. Some you could even do today if you wanted to sit down with it and do it. That will make a huge difference in user experience and engagement and helping to increase those conversions. Some of it has to do with layout, some of it has to do with content creation and things like that. So definitely go download that. That's a free resource, and you can kind of check things off as you go through it. And then I guess my last tip goes back to content. Create meaningful content for prospects. There are, if we're talking about SEO and search engine optimization, and I'm not going to get super analytical or anything here, but Google does still care a lot about technical things, but what they are, where this trend is going and what they care a lot more about is matching people who are searching online to companies who are answering their questions, putting out meaningful content that's actually helping their users. Google's job, the reason why they have 95% market share in search engines, their job and how they make money is by matching users with the best answers to their questions. If you can become the best answer to these questions for your industry and in your local area, Google is going to favor you for that. So blog, put together free resources or guides. That's a great way to build the trust factor in your industry. Just put more information about your services, your process, frequently asked questions, the conversations that you have over and over again on the phone and in emails with your clients. Take those conversations, put the information on your website, because other people have those questions. You deal with it day in and day out. So yeah, those are just a few of my tips. You can find more on my website, I'm sure, but
I
hopefully that's
love that.
helpful.
Oh, so many good things. Know your numbers and analytics. What do you want your website to do? Love that you have free resources. I love that you are in the construction industry and helping builders and remodelers. That's so key. Katlyn Slocum,
Yeah.
web design. She is the girl I definitely think, or the lady. I call her my girl because she's like a we're friends. But in regards to, in all seriousness, to be able to help people, to give them a free resource, to have a checklist, do it. Get on her website. Why not help yourself and help your business? And if you don't have the time, call her up, schedule an appointment. This is so worthwhile. You want your business to grow. This is the way to do it. Katlyn, in closing, is there anything else that you'd like to add to our audience and let them know a little bit more specifically about your business and why it's so great to use your services?
Yeah, I guess if you've just had any question about if your website can do more or creative ways to grow your business, like I said, sometimes it's just the little things that make a huge difference. So definitely look into web strategy. You can find me at KatlynSlocumDesign.com or follow me on Instagram at KatlynSlocumDesign. But I would love to chat with any of you, even if you just have a quick question.
I love that. And I'm so happy you're here. I'm so happy we get to feature you on Offsite Dirt's marketplace. Make sure to connect, make sure to check her out. And obviously, these are all great tips. So why not jump in and make your business thrive with her? Thank you so much, Katlyn, for being here.
Thank you, Audrey.
Have a great day, everyone. And that's a wrap on Offsite Dirt.